Good evening, people. Welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Monday evening. As always, we've got an absolutely massive show to get into with you all tonight. But before we do that, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. All right, let's jump straight on into it. So on the show tonight, we're going to be talking a bit about Sofyan Amrabat. We've got some news on Ryan Gravenberch for you. We're going to be talking about Dean Henderson, Kudus, Lindelof, a potential bid for Kolo Muani, which I think will be quite interesting for some of you. We're also going to be talking about the goalkeeper situation. There's some updates around Dean Henderson and there's some update around who the next goalkeeper will be. There's also a bit of a story going around about Evan Ferguson, which I think is really interesting that we will all discuss as a community. As always, I try and make it as interactive as possible, so do get involved in the comment section and do let me know what you are thinking. Right, let's start off with the Amrabat one then. So Fabrizio Romano was talking earlier on today on his YouTube channel, saying that apparently Amrabat remains the top name in Manchester United's list for a new midfielder. He then goes on to say that apparently he is also a target for Atletico Madrid. So he says Atletico Madrid do like Sofyan Amrabat and he remains a potential target should they sell Rodrigo de Paul to Al Ali in Saudi Arabia. Now, there has been a bit of a development on this potential signing since Fabrizio said this news earlier. So Rodrigo de Paul obviously plays for Atletico Madrid. Apparently, Atletico Madrid have accepted a bid from Al Ali, I think it is, in Saudi Arabia. Now, you're probably thinking, why are we talking about this? Where's the relevance? The reason we're talking about this is because apparently Amrabat is the #1 target to replace him if he moves to Atletico Madrid. So Fabrizio Romano is reporting the following. Al Ali submit formal €30 million bid to Atletico Madrid for Rodrigo de Paul as talks are now moving forward. Contract proposals have also been sent to the players' camp. Negotiations on after talks revealed this morning. So there is definitely a bit of a threat now for the Amrabat deal. We need to get this one concluded quickly if we're going to get this over the line, because there's another journalist coming out in the last couple of minutes saying that Sofyan Amrabat is the best placed option to replace Rodrigo de Paul at Atletico Madrid. And then you've also got Marca, which is obviously the Spanish newspaper outlet, saying that Sofyan Amrabat is said to be the major target for Atletico Madrid if they sell Rodrigo de Paul to Saudi Arabia. So there is a bit of an urgency on this one now. We really, really need to get this over the line and done, because if we don't, obviously we know Atletico Madrid are now knocking. We know that they are poised to make a bid for him and need a replacement for Rodrigo de Paul. I was very, very confident about the Amrabat deal. I was for a very, very long time, but there's a little bit of a sub story to this, which we will get into really quickly. Now, Samuel Luckhurst, obviously a journalist for the Manchester Evening News, he is very, very close to the club. He gets information from the club, and he has said Sofyan Amrabat being out of contract next year is not a strong enough incentive for Manchester United. A United official screwed up his face during the pre-season tour when Amrabat's name was mentioned. Okay. He then goes on to say that if Manchester United really wanted to sign Sofyan Amrabat, he would already be wearing the shirt. So he's being quite negative about this one. Do we think that maybe this deal is just fading away? Do we think that maybe the interest wasn't ever as high as we were told? I think that we were interested, because otherwise why would Fabrizio come out with these types of stories? Fabrizio gets his information from really good places. And I do sometimes wonder a little bit with journalists like Samuel Luckhurst and stuff. Obviously, they're good journalists and they're very close to Manchester United, but I think a lot of the time the stuff they put out is quite opinionated. Him saying if they wanted him, surely he'd have the shirt on by now. I mean, maybe that's kind of hypothetical, isn't it? And to say that one of the people at Manchester United screwed up their face when the name was mentioned is a little bit vague and it's a little bit strange. At the end of the day, if Manchester United think Gravenberch's going to be a better signing, then go and get Gravenberch. But for me, I think we need both of them. I think we need Sofyan Amrabat and we need Ryan Gravenberch. One or the other is not going to be enough. I think both of them need to come in. We need to solidify that midfield and we need to really, really strengthen in those areas, because we can't just carry on continuing like this in our big games. We can't go away to Liverpool, to Arsenal, to Man City and play like how we did against Tottenham and how we did against against Wolves, because otherwise we'll just get completely destroyed. We will. So hopefully Manchester United now have a bit of urgency to get these deals done, because obviously Atletico Madrid are now breathing down their necks. We will of course keep you updated on that one as it develops, but for me, as I just said, we need both of them. We really, really do. One is not enough. Let me know in the comment section though, do you think we need both Sofyan Amrabat and Gravenberch, or do you think one or the other will be enough? I will be pretty gutted if we lose out to Atletico Madrid. I will, because I think he'd been a quality signing. I said this at the beginning of the window. He was going to be our most important signing of this summer, up there with Onana. Rasmus Højlund's exciting for the future, but he's not going to have an immediate impact, in my opinion. Mason Mount, most people don't really seem to want. So for me, Amrabat would have probably been the best signing so far out of all of our players. I will be gutted if he doesn't come, but hopefully this gives Manchester United a bit of a kick up the bum to get things doing. But yeah, we'll keep you updated on that one. Right, let's move on to this now really quickly. There's some breaking news coming out around Benjamin Pavard. I know some of you didn't want him, some of you did. So Fabrizio Romano is reporting in the last 30 seconds that Inter Milan and Bayern Munich have now reached an agreement in principle for Benjamin Pavard. The deal will be worth 30 million euros plus 2 to 3 million in add-ons agreed between both clubs. So it looks like Benjamin Pavard is going to Inter Milan. I'm not that fussed about him. I'm not. I think he's an okay player. I don't think he's world class. He's better than Maguire, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and say Harry Maguire's better than him. But overall, I'm not going to cry because Benjamin Pavard's not coming to Manchester United. Obviously, I would have loved to get rid of Maguire, but it just hasn't happened, has it? We haven't been able to do the deal, and now Benjamin Pavard is going to Inter Milan. Now, the thing I will say though is, if he was Erik ten Hag's #1 target, we had to get that deal done. We did. If he was genuinely somebody that Erik ten Hag really, really wanted, then it is a disgrace that we didn't get him. Whether or not he is, we don't know. We'll never know. We knew that Kim Min-jae was his #1 target. We didn't get him. So I don't know how far down the list Benjamin Pavard was. Was he before Jean-Claire Todibo? Was he after? We'll never know, were we? But I don't know. Let me know what you think about that one, about Benjamin Pavard, in the comment section. Do you think that it's a shame we're not getting him? Are you happy he's not coming? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, as always, because I always do like to see what you guys have to say about these things. Right. Let's move on to the next story, though. Let's keep things moving. So there's a bit of a story coming out about Evan Ferguson, who I know is somebody you all really, really like in this community. Now, it's coming out from a journalist who writes for The Guardian in the UK, and he's saying that Brighton striker Evan Ferguson is apparently valued at £100 million by Brighton. He says that he's on the radar. He's on Arsenal's radar for the next summer transfer window. Crazy. £100 million for Evan Ferguson. Absolutely mental. I know this is somebody that a lot of you in the chat really, really want to see at Manchester United in the next 2 to 3 years. I know quite a few of you wanted him to come to Manchester United this year. Obviously, that hasn't happened. He's just signed a new contract with Brighton, but they want £100 million for him. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And let's think about this honestly. The fact that we've just paid 60 million plus for Rasmus Højlund has really not helped the striker market, because Brighton probably have a bit of a point there with 100 million. If we've just paid 60 million for what's he called? For Rasmus Højlund, right? And he only got 9 goals last season, 20 years of age. Whereas you've got Evan Ferguson, who's already Premier League proven. I know he only had 1 season at the top level, but last season he got 6 goals and 2 assists in 19 games. So he did really, really well last season and got 3 goals in 4 FA Cup games. So even though 100 million sounds ridiculous, if we were willing to pay 60 million for Rasmus Højlund, then 100 million for Evan Ferguson doesn't sound crazy. Now, just to be clear, it looks like Arsenal are the ones leading the race for him at the moment. But this is for next summer. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on that one. I think he'd be a quality addition to the squad. Whether or not we'll go for him, I don't think so. I think for his own development, staying at Brighton is probably the best option. He's going to be able to... He's only 18 years of age. He doesn't need to make a big move yet. He can keep playing at Brighton. He's still going to have European football. Brighton could even finish above Manchester United this season, let's be honest. Brighton play some really, really good football. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But it just shows how crazy the striker market is. £100 million for Evan Ferguson. Let me know in the comment section, is this somebody you would like to see at Manchester United? And how much do you think would be a fair price for Evan Ferguson? Just remember, this isn't for this summer. This will probably be for next summer or the summer after. We've got 500 people watching today, guys, which is absolutely massive. Please do smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new here. We're about 20 subscribers away from 14,300. So please do go and subscribe if you haven't already, and let's crack on with the rest of the show. So we're going to talk a little bit about Kolo Muani here, because there is a big story coming out around him. Now, this one came as a bit of a surprise to me. So just to be very, very clear, the story that we're about to bring you, it's been worded quite badly, but I think it's talking about past tense, okay? So it's not now. So it's a journalist who writes for L'Equipe and RMC Sport in Paris. So he's a French journalist. And he has reported today that Manchester United have apparently offered 70 million euros plus add-ons to sign Kolo Muani this summer but Frankfurt rejected the bid. So this must have been around the time when we got the Rasmus Højlund deal done. How long ago is it now? About a month ago. Apparently we submitted a 70 million euros bid to Frankfurt, which was rejected. 70 million euros is about 60 million pounds. So it's about the same amount of money that we paid for Rasmus Højlund. Now, the question I wanted to ask you was, if you had the option between Rasmus Højlund and Kolo Muani for 60 million, who would you have gone for and why? Let me know in the comments section. For me, I'm happy with Rasmus Højlund. I think it was the right decision. I know Kolo Muani has scored more goals. I know that he's probably a more developed player at this point, but I do think that Rasmus Højlund has a higher ceiling. I know it's harder to see that at the moment because he's injured and people are frustrated, but I think overall we got the right player. Let's just support him and let's hope that he comes in and has a really, really good time at Manchester United. Just to give you a bit more background on the Kolo Muani situation. So that story came up this morning, and then since then, apparently PSG have now submitted their first offer for Kolo Muani. £55 million has been offered for Kolo Muani. Apparently Frankfurt have rejected that bid and they're asking for £85 million for Kolo Muani. So when you look at it like that, they want 85 million. We've got Rasmus Højlund for 60. I think we've probably got the better deal there because 85 million is ridiculous money. It really, really is. For somebody who has only had one, maybe two good seasons in the French league. And when you compare that with the striker from Arsenal, what's he called, Balogun? He scored more goals than Kolo Muani did last season in the French league. So when you actually look at it like that, I think it's just shows how crazy the striker market's gone. You know, there's people like Jonathan David as well available for around 50, 60 million. I think 85 for a Kolo Muani is absolutely crazy money. I really, really do. So I'm not too bothered that we missed out on him. Obviously, I know some of you really, really wanted him. Some of you wanted Gonzalo Ramos. Some of you wanted obviously Rasmus Højlund. I think we've got the right player, and let's just hope that he comes back, he's fully fit, and he can hit the ground running, because I have massive, massive expectations for him. I think he's going to go on to be a very, very special player for us. So let's give him our full support. Obviously, Kolo Muani looks like he's going to go to PSG and will not be coming to Manchester United. Right, let's talk about the goalkeeper situation really, really quickly then. So Fabrizio Romano has come out this afternoon saying that Crystal Palace are currently ahead of Nottingham Forest in the race to sign Dean Henderson. He goes on to say that negotiations continue on both the club and player side. Henderson is expected to leave Manchester United this summer. So it looks like there's been a bit of a U-turn in the Henderson situation, and it looks like not Kolo Muani. It looks like Dean Henderson will be leaving the club now. We were told a couple of weeks ago that it looked like he was going to stay. It looks like Manchester United have now backpedaled, like they seem to do very often at the moment. And it looks like now they are going to let him go. Now, the deal looks like it will be a loan with an obligation to buy. So they'll have to buy him at the end of the loan. We don't know how much money the deal will be worth. My guess is somewhere between 15 and 30 million, somewhere in that ballpark. I think 20 would be fair, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens, won't we, with these types of ones, because you never know with Manchester United. All right, I'm back. I don't know what happened there. Sorry. It looks like Manchester United already have a replacement for Dean Henderson lined up then, and it looks like it will be this Greek goalkeeper who plays football for Benfica. I don't really watch much of the football in the Portuguese league, to be honest. So if there's anybody in the chat who knows much about this goalkeeper, please do let me know. I watched a couple of videos on him earlier, and the microphone's working now, isn't it? Let's see. All right, cool. It's all good. Yeah, so I don't really watch much Portuguese league football. So if there's anybody in the chat who has seen this goalkeeper play before, please do let me know what he's like in the comment section. I watched a couple of videos on him earlier, a couple of scout reports, and he doesn't look like he's that great at playing out from the back. He looks like he's good at shot stopping, but he doesn't look like he's very similar to Dean Henderson. To Onana in the way he plays. He looks like he's a good shot stopper, but not great at playing out from the back. So I'm a little bit confused about why we're going for this person personally. But ultimately, if Manchester United think he's the right person for the job, if they think he's going to be good enough to come in and compete with Onana, then great. For me, I would be happy with Tom Heaton as the backup, or even Vitek, the goalkeeper from the youth, because I don't really see the point in spending a load of money on a goalkeeper. If we can get someone for cheap, then great, go and do it. But you know what Manchester United are like. We're useless at selling people, but we're not very good at buying people, are we? So we'll probably end up spending an absolute fortune on this type of player. Right, let's move on to the next story, though. I will read out some of your questions in the second half of the show. So if you do have any questions, put the letter Q in front of your message and I will read them out. Let me just have a look if we've got any that have come in. Maureen says, genuine question, Kieran. What does Murta and Arnold do that we don't see? We clearly need a DM first, but they faff about and do nothing. Honestly, I have absolutely no idea. I felt pretty frustrated all of today, to be honest, with Manchester United. I have. And I felt a little bit disheartened into doing this video, just because after everything that's happened today, I just think that everything's just a bit of a mess, to be honest, with Manchester United. And it's just frustrating when, we're so passionate about a club and we're so invested in it and we want our team to do well. And the club's just clearly being run by a bunch of fools. It is, on every level. Every single decision is being questioned by the fan base. I don't remember the last time they made a decision which everybody agreed with. It's just a constant divide between people of what's right, what's wrong. Why have we not got a DM? Why have we bought Mason Mount? Why have we bought Rasmus Højlund? Why have they let Mason Greenwood go? Do you know what I mean? It's just frustrating. It really, really is, and it just drains you. So, I do apologise if today I seem a bit not my usual self, but it's just how I'm feeling today. I just feel pretty deflated and miserable, as Simon says. Urban says, Kieran, on Greenwood, losing a big asset against the debt, how will it affect the monthly premium repayment? Do you think it forces the Glazers to buy more players? We will talk a little bit about Mason Greenwood in a minute, but to be honest, I was going to talk about him more today, but I just don't really see the point anymore. It's done. Like, I'll talk about that though, because it's a good question. But generally, whether Mason Greenwood should go and all the rest of it, I'm just a bit sick of it, and it's you can't please everybody, and the amount of messages I've had since it's gone up, it's just, people are just on one today. So but in relation to your question, Mason Greenwood hasn't been released, so he's going to go out on loan or be sold. That's what's been said. He's not going to be released, so he still is an asset on the club. They haven't released him, so they've done a sneaky one there. But yeah, I am feeling a little bit deflated today. Let's crack on. I think everybody in the chat's feeling the same. It's not been a particularly good start to the season. The transfer window's been pretty miserable. And as Ismail says in the chat, I'll be happy just to not mention Mason Greenwood again. So let's just, I'd rather just not talk about it, all right? So we spoke about it earlier. Pretty much every single person in the comment section disagreed with me, even though I didn't even give my opinion on it. And people were getting all upset about it, saying they're never going to support Manchester United again, and saying, and it's just exactly why, anyway, let's just move on from it, because I think it's just a waste of energy now. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about this. So Fabrizio Romano has come out this afternoon saying that apparently Victor Lindelof will be staying at Manchester United. Erik ten Hag has absolutely no intention of letting him go this summer. There was interest from Rennes in the French league, but Fabrizio has said that Lindelof is a key player for Manchester United, despite interest from multiple clubs. Now, for me, I agree. I think Victor Lindelof really, really had a good second half of the season last year. I think he was quality. I think he's somebody who we can definitely rely on as the backup centre-back. I think he's levels above Harry Maguire. I think even if Martinez is having a bad spell, you can rely on bringing in Lindelof as the backup option. So I'm really, really happy that Lindelof will be staying. I'm happy that we're not entertaining selling him, because I think he'd be a massive loss for the club. Maguire, I'd be happy if he left, but Lindelof, I think it would be a real shame. But let me know in the comment section, what do you think about Victor Lindelof? Would you be happy if he left the club, or would you be, would you be sad? For me, I think he definitely needs to stay. I think he's a quality player. Right, let's move on to the next topic though. Let's talk a little bit about Mohammed Kudus. Now, as you all know, he was originally going for Brighton, 40 million euros, deal agreed. Now it looks like it's going to be West Ham, but there is a bit of a twist in the tail. There's a story coming out in the last couple of minutes that apparently apparently the transfer of Mohammed Kudus to West Ham is close to being called off. It says it's a complicated situation as both clubs are struggling to agree a deal. It could be the next Kudus deal to collapse after Brighton. Now, my question is to you. Do you think Manchester United should enter the race for Mohammed Kudus? Obviously, somewhere around 40 to 50 million euros would be enough to get the deal done. But let me know what you think about that one. Is he somebody that you think should come to Manchester United? Is he somebody that you think we should go for? I think we should. I do. I think he'd be a quality addition. I think he gives us lots of options on the wing. I know lots of you are unhappy about Anthony. I know lots of you are unhappy about the striker situation. He does offer you options in lots of different positions, and that's why I'm quite keen on signing him. I think he'd be a quality addition, and obviously he's played under Erik ten Hag before. We know what to expect of him, and if you could go and get that deal done for around 40 to 50 million pounds, I think it would be a good bit of business to do. But let me know what you think about that one in the comment section. Would you go for it? Obviously, if you are going to look at it from a Greenwood perspective, obviously he's not coming back, so you do now have to think about who's going to be on the wing, who's going to be the strikers, because we definitely do need a backup winger and a backup striker now, because a lot of people in the chat obviously thought he was going to come back. He's not coming back, so we now have to look at alternative options. Right, let's move on to the next bit of news, though, and I will read out some of your questions in a couple of minutes' time. Let's talk about Ryan Gravenberch. Now, he is somebody who I really, really like, and he's somebody who I would love to see at Manchester United. So there's a story coming out from Sky Sports in the last 10 minutes or so saying that Bayern Munich are no longer ruling out the departure of midfielder Ryan Gravenberch, with 2 Premier League clubs interested in signing him this summer. So it looks like this deal is actually picking up some headway, and it looks like it is something that could happen. Fabrizio Romano came out earlier on today saying, if Bayern's stance on Ryan Gravenberch changes, Manchester United and Liverpool will be there to work on a deal. Erik ten Hag could be key in the negotiations with his former Ajax midfielder. If we could go and get him and Amrabat done in the last week or so of the window, that would be incredible. It really, really would. I still think we'll be battling for top 4. I don't think we're going to win the league, or anything like that. But I think if you get Gravenberch and you get Amrabat, I think it really solidifies that midfield. Fred's gone, and we really missed Fred. We did. Whatever you think about Fred, generally as a player, he does always seem to perform in those bigger games. And I think against Tottenham, he would have really, really helped in that midfield. And we're crying out for somebody to slot into that team. Now, we know that for some reason, Erik ten Hag didn't even give Scott McTominay a single minute of game time on Sunday. Was it Sunday? Saturday. He didn't give Scott McTominay a single minute of game time, right? Which for me can only mean that he's leaving the club. Why would you not play him in a game where he definitely does need to be played? He definitely does need to give that sort of option, because Mason Mount, Casemiro and Bruno doesn't work at the moment. It doesn't. I'm not saying it won't ever work, but at this moment in time, I don't think it will work. So yeah, let me know what you think about Gravenberch. Is he somebody we would go for? Is he somebody you would like to see? I think for me, it will be a loan with an option or an obligation to buy. That's what's being reported today. I don't think it will be a straight up deal, a straight up transfer, because Bayern Munich do want to keep him at the club. He's only been there 1 season. He hasn't really had much opportunity. He's still very, very young. He's still somebody who could go on to be a world-class player, I think. So Bayern Munich probably are conscious about letting go of an asset which could go on to be a very, very special player. So let me know what you think about Gravenberch in the comment section. Well, I'll read out a couple of questions now. Somebody says, transfer window is ending next week. Are we sure Manchester United are going to sign any players? Well, you can never be sure that Manchester United are going to do anything, because we're Manchester United. But I honestly think after the situation we've had today, I think we have to go and sign some people now. I think we have to go and get a midfielder. I think we have to go and get a striker. We desperately need to make signings, and we desperately need to let people leave the club really, really fast. Otherwise, we are going to be in big trouble. But yeah, at the moment, it's gone very, very quiet, and everything's in a mess. And I think everybody's got a bit deflated over the last kind of 24 to 48 hours. Obviously, we've had a really poor start to the season. People are already questioning Erik ten Hag, which I think is wrong, but that's up to you. People are questioning the manager. We've had this Greenwood situation. I just want to stop messing around with all of these things and just focus on football. Like, I am getting a little bit sick of it now, and I think when you pile that onto the takeover and all of the rest of these things, it is very, very draining. It really, really is. Amnat says, only 1 league left of the window. Realistic, how many players do you think we could sign? I think 2 is probably realistic. I think a midfielder and a striker. But if I'm the CEO, if I'm managing Manchester United, I'm going for 2 midfielders and a striker. I think that's the minimum. I'm getting rid of Scott McTominay. But whether that will happen or not, I don't know. if how the window's gone so far is anything to judge by, probably not. We know how it's been so far. It's been so slow. It's been very, very slow, and that's just how it is. Right, I'm going to read out a couple more of your questions. I'm going to keep the video a little bit shorter tonight, guys, just because, yeah, it's just one of those days, isn't it, where I just don't really feel that up to it, you know? So let's have a look what we got. And Adrian says, have they terminated Greenwood's contract? No, they haven't terminated the contract. But yeah, the Greenwood situation is done now. I'm not going to bring it up again because I just think it's pointless. I think it's wasted energy. It's wasted energy. Answer says, do you think Mason Mount is a luxury signing? Yeah, I would say so. I don't really see the point in signing Mason Mount. I mean, yeah, he is a luxury signing. He's a good player, but we have Bruno Fernandes, we have Eriksen, we did have Fred. We had 3 or 4 people who played in the same position as him, so it's a little bit strange. But it is what it is, isn't it? I'm not sure what Delboy's saying. I don't really get that comment. Amrabat says, Kieran, another important question. Do you really think Amrabat deal will happen? It's been so many weeks, but nothing happened. I don't know anymore. I don't. I've to be honest, I feel a little bit deflated with it all today, you know? I think it's all really like caught up where you're just like, what the hell is going on? It's Monday. We should be buying players. We've just had a really poor start to the season. What are they doing? Like, we need to know what's going on behind Manchester United. When you look through the transfer window so far, it's just been mistake after mistake, really, hasn't it? Not selling McTominay, not selling Maguire. Everything's very, very questionable at the moment. But I think I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys, because, yeah, I've covered all the things I want to talk about. And, yeah, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. We will, of course, be back tomorrow for the 8 o'clock show. Please do go and try and get away from football for the evening. Please, you know, go and have some fun. Try and focus on something else, because I think at the moment everything around Manchester United is so toxic. It really, really is. It's very, very toxic. So try and have a nice evening. I'm going to try and switch off from it all, but I will be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. for your usual morning show. Thank you so much for everyone for watching. I hope you have a nice evening, morning, day, or wherever you are in the world, and I'll speak to you all later.